Hey guys, this is Subaru 3100 PSI electric start pressure washer machine. This had run great, but now it's hard to start, and when it does start, it runs rough. It's still usable, but I can see that water pressure is not full, and sometimes it acts like it wants to shut down. So likely what's happening is it's usually due to the carburetor jet getting clogged up. So that's what I'm gonna work on today. To start out, you gotta go over here, these two tabs here. You're just gonna push it in from this side, then get this to pop open. Okay, detach it completely. Air filter, just a sponge. There's this hose here that's connected to this. So it's just gonna, it comes off easily. Be careful with these gaskets, and here, you're gonna try to preserve those. Okay, so to be able to remove this carburetor cover at the bottom, I need to remove this cover here. And so it's gonna require Torx bit 30. Okay, so on the other side, there's another 10mm nut. There's this nut on the other side of that screw. Looks like on this side, this nut is missing. You see, that's supposed to hold this. There's this hose that connects here. Okay, so just disconnected that. So it looks like this is the container for your soap, which I never really used. All right, so next is, by the way, I never used the battery to start this either. There's two 10mm bolts here. You want to get the one that's directly on the bottom. Oop, the whole leg is coming out. I think I ran the engine down all the way, but might have a little bit of gas left in there. Okay, so as you can see inside, there's a little bit of dirty particles in there, and I can see some varnish buildup in there. Not too much though. Okay. Now I'm gonna lay this down gently. Some varnish getting built up in here. Okay, we're gonna have to take out the jet here. There's gonna be a screw. You're gonna have to get a flathead screwdriver that's thin enough to go into that hole, okay? And then just kind of rotate it until you find the slot. I'm gonna actually take out the float temporarily because I don't want that pin to drop and lose it. There's this little pin here. I'm gonna just push it down. Looks like that. Let's just take out the float. Just remember how the float goes, okay? See that needle? That's gonna point inward, okay? And that's gonna fall out too, so keep all these together.
That jet bolt felt like it was super glued on there with sticky varnish, and I think I stripped the bolt head. This is why I always remove the carburetor and soak it in varnish removal solution for a couple of hours before trying to remove it. I regret not doing it this time. The inside gasket was stuck to the carburetor, and I didn't want to break it in pieces. So I used a small flathead screwdriver to detach it from the carburetor. And I carefully wiggled on the carburetor to pull it out.
Okay, be careful with these gaskets because we want to reuse them. Carburetor should come out. Let me see, let me get this out of the way. Okay, move the clamp down, and then you might have to, if you don't want to break the rubber, you might have to help to push this down. It's kind of dry and stuck in there. You can use penetrating oil or WD-40. Just get it sprayed there just a little bit, just to help loosen the hose, because it's on there like rock hard right now. Okay, that penetrating oil really helped to make this come out easily. Okay, so when we come around to the other side, there's this thing here that's got to get unhooked. And if you notice, there's a small pin that goes into that hole, and there's this thicker metal that controls the choke that goes in there. So we're gonna take out both of those. Okay, I pulled out the spring. That one, I'm gonna have to get it out after I take out the carburetor. Okay, with that out, this is kind of in the angle, so you have to kind of work around the angles a bit. Okay, so that's out. The reason why I did that is there's a screw in there, and I feel like I was gonna strip it, so I took it out. This will also give me a chance to really clean everything. You see how the regular screwdriver bit is kind of bulged here, whereas these screwdriver bits like this is straight, okay? And that jet screw that's in there is brass, it looks like, and it's soft, so it looks like it's gonna get mangled if I use the wrong size. So I'm gonna use this that's got enough thickness, okay, so it doesn't strip, and it's narrow enough to go in there, okay, so it doesn't have a free play. This Blaster's penetrating oil really works well. I've used it in all kinds of car repairs. So I'm just gonna spray a little bit in there. Let it soak. Looks like it went all the way through. So hopefully that loosened it. Okay. I feel like it's not, I can't get it to turn. Okay, I'm gonna soak this in Pine Sol or Pine Glo from a dollar store. Take out the rubber O-ring here before I soak it. Be careful not to damage this. I just cut off a plastic bottle so I can soak the whole thing in there. This whole bottle was like $1.25, so I'm not worried about overusing it. Just want to make sure everything is submerged. I'm gonna leave that in there. Last time I left it in there a couple hours, and that did a pretty good cleaning of the varnish. All right, so this is the next day. I was gonna work on this last night, and I got stuck with other work inside the home. So what that means is this has been soaking here for, my goodness, almost 20 hours. But I did come out here a few times to kind of flip it around because I didn't want to have air bubbles preventing the full soaking. Okay, key is to get this screw here unscrewed, and you can see this is kind of a brass screw and it's kind of stripped now. What I should have done was soak it. All the other times I worked on small engine carburetors, I always soaked it before I try to remove this jet screw here. This one, I thought it would be easy, so I was kind of hurried to get it removed and it wouldn't come out, and it's kind of stuck in there. So that means it's probably got a thick varnish around it, and I tried to get that out prior to really soaking deeply. So what ended up happening was it would go there and it would not turn, and I would kind of strip it. So okay, I got one of these screw extractor. I have another set that I used on my Volkswagen Jetta to remove another stuck screw. That's got a little bit different shape on the opposite side. This is just one side. I think it's like a reverse thread that will try to bite onto the screw, and then so you can unscrew it. But if I do that, I may damage another jet that's in there. By trying to remove it, I may damage the inside as well. So anyway, I looked up this part, and of course they don't just sell the screw that I can find. The entire carburetor is about 15 to 20 bucks. In the past, my problem is the carburetor quality is bad, and also it's not exact size. So sometimes it's a little bit tricky. So here's what I'm gonna do. You see, this is the small carburetor cleaner. See, I bought one of these kit. It comes with all sorts of small size brushes and these kind of a needle shape. So what I did was, if you look right in the middle there, there's like a real small hole. It may be very hard to see, but I'll show you with this. You can take a small needle, if you can find one that's long enough. You can go like right in the middle there, okay? That's probably the most important hole. That what happens is it gets clogged because you leave the gasoline in there or enough of it. And if you look inside, right there in the middle, you can see that pin going in and out, right? Initially, it didn't want to go in all the way. I just kind of worked at it, and then I got it to go through all the way, which is good. So I cleaned it more this way. And then ideally what you do is you take this, and you see all these holes everywhere. Everywhere you see these holes, actually that one wasn't clogged, and that just comes right through inside here. Just look around, and there's another one here. Without the diagram, I don't know exactly what hole goes where, but every one of these holes, I plug this brush or pin, and then some of them has a small hole that it goes through, and I just try to clean it all out, okay? I did that for a while, and there's another one here. And then inside, there's another one. Inside, there's another one here. So this one's going through quite a bit. That one went in almost 3/4 of an inch. So you want to just kind of unclog every little hole you see. And then I took a brush and just kind of cleaned all the surface. Wait a minute, there's a part number here. So I may actually look that up and see if I can find that screw. Anyway, let me put this back together and then give it a try, and let's see where it goes from there. So get this O-ring back in there. And then here's the float. I already cleaned this. It was already clean. There's really nothing to clean, but sometimes you can see some varnish in here that will prevent the float from moving up and down properly. Gonna get this pointed edge in there like that. And then gotta line up that hole and have it come through here like that. So next, I gotta hook up one spring and this choke. Okay, so that's in there. Let me get the spring hooked. Okay. It was a little bit tricky to get in there, but it's in there. I'm gonna align the two holes. There's already a gasket here on this side. Okay, so that's in there. This is the main fuel line, okay? I've never seen this get clogged, but it's a good idea to make sure there's no blockage there. Okay, let's get the clamp. I like to put the clamp right back to... Okay, that's in there. Okay, I'm gonna put this gasket. Okay, it's this way, because this outlet connects to this. Okay, that's breather hose coming from the engine. these kind of small engine bolts, screws. They don't really take much power to really tighten it, so don't over tighten it and strip the bolt or the plastic here. Just turn it until it feels snug. Okay, and that's gonna squeeze all the gaskets. We saw a number of green color gaskets inside. It's gonna squeeze all those gaskets to make sure the gas doesn't leak and there's no air leak that's feeding into the carburetor. Okay, just gonna make it snugly tight there. Put the fuel tank back on, but before I put it back, I'm gonna clean it a little bit. You can see some of these deposits that are in here, and those tiny holes in the carburetor, they can get clogged quite easily. Okay, so this is what's gonna hold this in there. If you want to just drain the fuel after you're done using and before storing it away, you could use this before storing for a winter. It's probably a good idea to have this bolt stick out instead of be in case you want to drain it in the future. Okay, so have it stick out in whatever angle that's comfortable. This is probably good. Again, don't over tighten this. Okay, just maybe put about 10 pounds maximum pressure to tighten it, and I think that's good enough. Let me just check again. Okay, that's good. Okay, we're gonna put this soap box back in here. Let me take out these screws. By the way, with that remove, this whole thing comes out. Okay, so after you remove those two screws, be careful because this can't pop out.
The video to reinstall the battery pack and soap box didn't record properly, but it's pretty straightforward, so just be sure to secure them with 2 long bolts. That did it. The pressure washer now starts on 1 or 2 pulls and engine runs smoothly, and the high water pressure is back again. It took me about total of 6 hours to clean the long driveway and all the sidewalk. I hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.